Right, just getting a invite out the shadows just in case you weren't able to.
I found him in the end.
Ah well, just I've got him on my friends list. Right, live and let the Twitch chat madness begin. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to round 13. Lucky for some and unlucky for some. Hopefully, this time out, few drivers hit it lucky. Oh, for God's sake, Yorkie. Not wasting any time tonight, are we? Right, Yorkie, please divert that channel point redemption to whoever you choose, and I know exactly who that's going to. I am Cruiser 1872, and joining me this evening is is
It's
actually the comms from last night coming in tonight with, from what I remember, it was I think his favourite comms partner from the Tier 1 stream. His words, not mine. It is David Lawface.
yeah. Good evening, everyone. Glad to be back with my favourite comms partner.
Again, his words, not mine. I didn't tell him to say that. I've not PayPal'd him a fiver.
Yeah, I ain't that cheap.
Yeah, and we're not even 2 minutes into the stream, and Yorkie's diverting a redemption towards me. So, first of many I know for tonight. Yorkie, you are daddy.
Oh, I love it. Off to a good
There
start,
you
as
go.
well as Gary redeeming the drinks, and well, I've got plenty of time.
This it isn't. Oh my god. Right, mood's been set. Mood's been set for tonight. Anyway, we should actually get on to what track we're at this evening, and we are in Zandvoort, in Holland, of course. Got the Orange Army out in full force to cheer on the Red Bulls, and don't believe there's any Dutch drivers in the field tonight. Nigel saying, at least you can put in some effort towards the channel point redemptions. Anyway, we're going to jump over towards Tiddlewink in the Mercedes for this evening. Actually, one of many reserve drivers this evening in the field, as we just go for a quick lap from Broadcaster Cam with what I would probably say is actually my favourite track in the game. And I don't know why, but it just is such a Tiddlewink, careful. And that's one of the dangers Zandvoort can present itself. Snap oversteer out of the carousel turn 4, and Mercedes' first lap has went up in smoke. So we'll jump down towards Mr. Diamond Douche, a very strong title contender actually. Last season's Tier 3 champion chasing down the Tier 2 title, and we'll follow him for the remainder of the lap. Now towards turn 8 and turn 9. Careful not to go too much in the inside curb and not to go too wide on the exit, because the curbs around here are crucial due to obviously bogging you down. Then up towards the stadium section, and as mentioned, you got the Orange Army out in full force to cheer everyone on towards the final few corners, turn 13, and then towards the near 45-degree angle, turn 14, and that's a lap of Zandvoort. A quick dash to the line for the AlphaTauri driver, and it's a one. We're already into the 111s. Right, this is going to be interesting.
Yeah, and it's good start there from Diamond, getting a lap down early. Seems like there's a lot of drivers unable to find their feet on the first lap. We saw Nigel Piggle invalidating, and the Mimi Zilla in P14 just negotiating the track on your screens right now. Tiddlewink did complete his lap, but of course, after that spin, not a representative time, and he'll be presumably he's going to be going for another one straight away, which he is. So let's we'll find out soon enough how much wear he's managed to procure on those tyres with that big spin out of the carousel, like you said.
Yeah, we've seen the Revenge Zilla getting well out of the way of the Alpine of Nigel Pridle, who actually I think made a mistake on their first run, which was a 121, and Revenge Zilla I think getting a bit of a feel for the track as well. I'm not too sure if that's actually them driving, but with respect, they've actually completed a lap and have somehow got a yellow flag despite going in the right direction. Nigel very careful around turn 7, and there's your answer towards Tiddlewink, a 111.1. So we're going to get in towards the 110s already in Q1, but we're going to follow Nigel Piddle for the rest of the lap, as I think Revengezilla taking a lot of liberties with the track limits, to be honest. As we can see in the mini-map, is actually... I'm not going to elaborate on that anymore. But Nigel, over turn 10 and turn 11, that inside curb you can get very, very greedy on. But with risk comes reward, you can invalidate as well. And this final corner, it got on the curb, just avoided the barriers on the outside. And this is not going to be any faster than Diamond Douche, but it's still going to be a decent lap for Nigel. It's a 112.3, a lap I don't think is good enough for Q2 just yet. But not to be said as well, that wasn't the cleanest lap in the world from the Alpine. As we'll have a look. See, our championship leader Drownsy, one method to heat up the tyres, just get massive snap oversteer out of the carousel. We got Legends as well, and a driver who I think's gained a bit of a reputation around here, David, as one to watch in qualifying, but just hasn't been able to convert everything towards the races in this championship. And despite being a late joiner, he could have possibly been a late candidate for this championship if things went in qualifying as he did in the race.
Yeah, of course, plenty of drivers trying to stake their claim on this year's title. I just watched Hirsch go around his lap, and it's a quite tidy lap. Obviously, not quite the best, as we see a Legends go 1 second faster. But that's not a bad starter lap from Hirsch, but Legends obviously setting the early benchmark, and well, I'm sure there's more to come.
Indeed, and I think this driver as well is one I think all of us want to see do well here. It's the Williams of Silverside Boy. Had victory in the palm of his hands last time out in Belgium, but the weather gods swiped it away from him at the final moments, and it just shows there's a victory due for Silverside Boy, and could tonight be that night? We'll only find out in around an hour and a half's time. I know it sounds very long, but it's a 36 lap race. Anything can happen around Zandvoort, but up to the line for the Williams of Silverside Boy, and their initial banker lap is a 112.4, puts them up in 7th, and much like Nigel Piddle, could have been a bit of a banker lap, didn't seem too clean. But much like Nigel Piddle as well, get another set of softs on and go again, as we've got a yellow flag around turn 1, possibly looking like drivers are keeping out the way, as Monkey Boy Kurt has joined up, and that, I believe, makes out our grid for tonight's race. As we see there's an Alpine going very slow, looking like potentially Michelo on their outlap, and we've got drive on driver on their outlap also, actually in the Alpine last time out in the race, and there are both the Red Bull drivers, as we see Nigel Piddle trying to go even quicker on their lap. So we'll look at Nigel Piddle for a little bit longer. Going back to the Red Bulls, Nigel, it's a lot nicer around the second to last corner. Didn't go anywhere near as wide on the curbs, but Junivane for Red Bull up in 4th, and Pines on their outlap, as Nigel actually doesn't improve in their time, so that must have been a really poor lap there for the Alpine.
Yeah, I think I'm not quite sure why he kept his foot in, but yeah, coming through Sector 2 is 1.2 seconds down. By the end of Sector 3, 1.7, 1.8 seconds down on his fastest time. And those tyres are now done 4 laps. That is, of course, not including the outlap. So yeah, I'm not sure if Nigel's just trying to get the most out of these tyres, or maybe he's just doing a little bit of very late practice.
And just following there, the Alfa Romeo of Jaffmaster, who initially went 5th, now down to 6th as General Jake in the McLaren. And got to be said as well, Jake, he's lit up the Tier 2 grid on fire, especially with the victory. Actually, one would say stealing victory from Silverside Boy, the other would say making the right call on strategy. And I think everyone would say that Jake is the snake of FPRL, as his name suggests, on the comms partnership. But still, can't be denied though, Jake putting on an incredible performance the last few outings, as Shadows up in 3rd has retired in the pit lane, so seems satisfied with a 111.3, potentially setting an early, what would you say, an early benchmark for the cut-off to Q2, as Snedden, that's more like it from them, especially off their qualifying form, now displaces Jake up to 4th, as more movement as well as Michaelo up to 10th, and Hirsch, you mentioned earlier, David, improved, and is now up to, I would say up to 11th, now 12th is Pines on a 1:11.0, top 3 covered by less than a 10th, and the top 10 covered by, actually tell you, the top 11 covered by less than a second, so nothing new from Tier 2. And I'm looking forward to the end of qualifying as we got a yellow flag around the carousel. That looking like it's drive on driver. Is it? Indeed it is. He's backwards into the barrier. So that's the first lap gone, and he couldn't quite get it done. And I think that could potentially be medium traction. But I'm surprised he didn't swing the rear of the car round and try to do actually a 3-point turn. But at least it saves the tyres a little bit longer. And from one Mercedes to another, Tiddlewink retiring up in 3rd as well.
Yeah, and the lap's coming thick and fast right now. Before we go too much further, I do want to make a note about last week, at least my opinion anyway. I'm not going to say, I think, to be honest, it's just unlucky on Silverside Boy's part, and maybe a spot of luck for General Jake. Obviously, Silverside Boy just making the overtake on the full wets, and Groundsy threw it in a wall, and it caused the safety car. And well, over that safety car period, we saw the intermediates get better. One driver I'm looking at right now is the Lexus in a McLaren. He is out on the mediums at the moment, and with only 5.5 minutes left to go at this session, I'm not sure whether he's just brave or stupid, judging by how fast this field is. And there you see it. Probably the latter, I think, given that. And yeah, he might have to think twice about his strategy. Might have to come in for the softs. A man that is on the softs, he's coming up to the line, is Monkey Boy Kurt. Does an 11.8. So there you go. That's me for now anyway.
Yeah, and I see Shadow's having a little joke saying that Revengezilla has finally found some pace, and a 1:11.9 for Revengezilla still might be in trouble, and see Nigel Piddle as well on the bubble. Silverside Boy too, both of these drivers out already on a lap. But we'll stick with Silverside Boy, who's up by half a second and could gain a bit more time in this final sector, potentially. Keeping it very nicely there around the second to last corner. Now the final corner, steep banking, slingshot with DRS for the Williams, and this is looking quick for Silverside Boy and up to P9. So that could be enough, but it might also be just not enough. Time will tell, as well the midfield between Snedden and Michaelo, it's just over half a second, and as we mentioned as well, Nigel Piddle was on a lap and is actually purple through the middle sector, and like I usually say, I'll see it when I believe it, Codemasters, as around the second to last corner he goes, does the Alpine, and keeping it tight towards the grass, keeping it a tighter line, but gets the run around the exit and up to the line for Nigel, and it's a 1:11.5. So that might be enough as well to put him through, and puts Jaffmaster now down in 9th, separated by 200ths of a second between Junuvane and Jaffmaster, and 3 drivers. So that just gives you an idea as well about Zandvoort. It's I would say, a momentum-based track, as Groundsy's made a mistake.
Yeah, into the carousel.
Oh no.
He's got on the curb on the inside of turn 3, and that has absolutely rocketed him into the barrier, and well, the championship leader will take no further part in qualifying. That is going to be disappointing for the man in the AlphaTauri.
Well, there's a big advantage through everyone else's way, with Groundsy being at best 15th place, as we can take a
Hirsch
quick
is round at
side.
turn 1.
Oh,
Sorry.
Hirsch. Oh, the Italianism's back, everyone. Trust Ferrari.
Yeah, he just got a curb Just got a wheel on the curb on the exit, going for a late apex. Took slightly too much, and unfortunately, once you touch that, if you're committed, you just got to go round, and that's all she wrote for that lap. Hopefully, he'll be fine to get in another one, and I'm sure he will. Not that I can see the time at all.
I think we had 2.5 minutes left in Q1,
There we go.
and there you go, 2 minutes 15. As we'll actually take a little sidetrack, I think, from the Formula 1 as Silverside Boy retires down in 10th. Obviously, I think, a bit motivated by Drownsy's early DNF as well. But Nigel Piddle with a bit of an early score update, of course, tonight. English Premier League, Arsenal versus Southampton. It's 2-0 Southampton. So
No,
Arsenal are
doing the Tottenham.
they are taking off of their rivals, which I wouldn't
No.
really want to motivate. But Hirsch, I think, needing
Oh
all the
my God.
motivation he can, as I think David is
I did
is
have to
getting
check.
he's getting sidetracked by the score. It's too difficult. It's hard to believe unless you see it. And Hirsch, I think, as well, with the motivation he needs, down in 16th place in the drop zone, he has to get a lap together, much like Drive on Driver. Phenom, who we've not mentioned at all in qualifying so far, and Lexus, everyone from 11th place Diamond Duchy down towards Lexus is on an outlap as Monkey Boy Kurt's retired at
Monkey
exit
Boy
of
bin.
turn 1. Monkey Boy Kurt is in the drop zone, and that actually promotes Drownsy up a place to 14th. So, there we go, and no sooner do I mention it, and Arsenal have now just made it 2-1, and Drownsy saying, there goes my championship. Still a long way to go, Drownsy, and especially in this race, anything can happen as long as you play your cards right. Basically, don't do what I done in the Tier 3 race and stay out on 32 lap old hards. How's that for motivation? Anyway, Harsher in the second to last corners. We got yellow flag around turn 9. That's looking like at the Alpine of Michaelo, who's made a mistake on their final run. So won't see any improvement on 13th. It's Hirsch up to the line. And he improves up to 12th, which puts Michaelo in the drop zone. A costly mistake there for Michaelo. His drive on driver now goes up to 11th, just beating Hirsch as well. And that now puts Diamond in trouble as Revengezilla goes up to 10th and puts Silverside Boy down into P11. And I think Silverside Boy is actually safe with Hirsch and Drive on Driver behind them. Silverside Boy is through to Q2. Michaelo, though, is not. As the checkered flag falls, it's Michaelo who's going to fall as well, with Monkey Boy Kurt and Drowsy. Phenom, who we've had actually not seen at all in qualifying, up to the line for the Haas driver, puts himself 7th and puts himself through, and Hirsch is out of qualifying. It's now down to what Lexus can do. Is he going to get through? Because I think if he improves on this lap, he'll, I would say, not Drowsy out, but really Drowsy has already been eliminated. So this is just about if Lexus is quick enough to beat Drownsy's 111.7, and it's a 111.5, and that puts him through to Q2, and Drive on Driver just getting through by the skin of his teeth by 500ths of a second, but Diamond Duchy as well, living a bit closely there to danger, flirting with trouble, but he's through regardless in 14th, as it's Pines who sets the early pace in Q1.
Yeah, who'd have thought it? Well, actually, probably most of us. Yeah, great lap there from Pines, flirting with the 1 minute 10s already. And, well, let's put it this way. Can anyone stop him? Not so sure. Further down the grid, obviously heartbreak for well, what is technically 5 of our drivers. And I think, judging on the game's coding, I think Hirsch might be out by 0.003 of a second, which is not ideal.
Yeah, disaster for Hirsch, it must be said. As there goes the Nightbot Discord server spam link brigade. Big
Yeah,
up Diamond and Shadows.
we appreciate you, lads. I especially appreciate Diamond, who has renewed his sub with Prime. Thank you very much, sir. That is his 5-month anniversary. So that's good. We've just had a Truth or Dare from the Gary to Cruiser.
Yeah, but first off, I will say big thank you to Diamond on, as David said, that 5-month subscription with Twitch Prime. And as well, her saying only 7 tenths covering the full field. And I've been saying it all the time throughout Tier 2. It's a close qualifying session. That's all I'm going to say on that. But it's Pines setting the early pace, and Silverside Boy, as you mentioned, David, redeeming the truth or dare. I am going to go. Oh dear, pick your poison here, Cruiser. I'm going to go with a truth, Gary, just before you begin your lap in Q2, and before we actually get underway in Q2, I'm going to change my controller batteries very, very quickly because I don't want to risk them running out at the end of qualifying or before the start of the race.
Yeah, and while Cruiser does that, let's take out the chat. Yorkie redeeming a safety car question. That, of course, is, ladies and gents, that is a question that we will answer in the comms box during the safety car period, if there is one. If not, we will either redeem your points or answer at the end of the stream. It depends how late we go. And also will depend on the main comms, see what they want to do. But I do not have a problem with refunding channel points.
Ah,
Ooh.
so here's the question from Silverside Boy. Obviously, me being me, I am a big Glasgow Rangers fan. And Silverside Boy has asked, was Rangers right to let Steven Gerrard go as manager? And I am going to say yes. I'm not going to get too in depth in that, but what I will say on that is that we were right to let Gerrard go, and we were wrong to bring Michael Beale back. Anyway,
So,
enough.
yeah, there you have it.
I think we're a bit too sidetracked with, not to get too sidetracked with football, but of course I think we'll be keeping an eye on the Arsenal score throughout the evening. But of course, a big thank you to tuning in to FPRL on your Friday evening. And Silver Boy says, nah, I need you to explain. I'm not going to explain too much, I'll get to that in later time, potentially off stream, if I remember. And again, like I was saying, obviously a thank you to tune in to FPRL. We're at 20 viewers currently, and just again, we appreciate it as well. Before we get any further going, as mentioned to Nightbot, we'll be giving a Discord link to our recruitment server, which means one day you could join our field on track as we make our way on track for Q2, and we'll jump down towards Diamond, who seems to be getting a bit of a habit of first on track and first to set a lap, so we'll follow the AlphaTauri for their first run in Q2. And as well, socials as well for FP Racing League, you'll find us on Twitter at FairPlayRL, and there's no shortage of connections between FPRL and for you to find us, so any support to give us is gratefully appreciated, I'm sure. And I think David will echo the comments as we get Lexus and Shadows back in the lobby, just I'd say 2 minutes away into Q2, so they've not lost too much time as Diamond trying to make up all the time they can. It would help if I brought lap data up. That would be really appreciated. And Shadow says, get the badge in. Unfortunately, I don't have any Stone Island merch, so I'm not able to, and I don't have a webcam, which is double heartbreak for Shadows, I'm sure. But Diamond, a 49.8 for the second sector. That is rapid for last season's Tier 3 champion. And at least from experience with Diamond, he struggled here last season in the Ferrari. Now jumping towards the AlphaTauri, hoping for a bit of better fortune. And thankfully, it's not like Austria, where he falls through the floor of the map, or floor of the track even, and it's a 1:11.5, which is an improvement from his first run in Q1, but still half a second down to what Pine set at the end of Q1. So as times roll in, Nigel a 1:11.9 and a few more to follow, that being Jake just starting a lap, and I believe that is the Red Bull of Juvain, a 1:11.4. So Red Bull looking very strong here.
Yeah, good lap from Genuvain, and yeah, pipping out Diamond Douchey by around about a tenth. You might have caught it on stream. Cheeky little slipstream through that second DRS zone from Revengezilla to Diamond, and I'm sure probably Diamond repaid the favour down the start, finished straight for Revengezilla, who is nearing the end of his lap now. He's just, I believe he is, yeah, just past his teammate. So I would consider that debt being repaid, as Zilla now to the line around the last corner, and that's it's in the 111s. It's a 111.8 from Zilla or
Oh.
Mimi. It could be Mimi.
Yes, Nigel Pirro getting out of the way of General Jake. Up to the line now for the McLaren, as we were looking at Silverside Boy before that lap. It's a 112.0 for Silverside Boy, possibly on older tyres, and it's a 111.4 for the General. So Jake again proving they've got pace in qualifying. Next up will be Jaffmaster and Dado on a 112.2, definitely I think on a set of older tyres, and that so far does it for the first runs, or first inaugural runs of Q1, as we have Pines, Shadows to the Wink and Legends on their outlap, Drive on Driver and Lexus still in the pits, Diamond and Nigel have returned to the pits, and others will follow from their first runs, as I think Shadows is just getting underway on their first run. So we'll give Shadows a bit of stream time, and we'll see what they can do around this Zandvoort circuit. Obviously not an ideal line there around turn 2, getting well on the sausage curb there, and actually from experience it drags you a lot wider around turn 3, and in effect compromises turn 4 through 5, 6 and turn 7, a bit in the grass, but it's now around turn 8 he goes. Quick kink around turn 9 and then turn 10 for the Aston Martin, now up towards 11 and 12. Be careful not to go too wide and get too much on the curbs in this corner, especially. That inside curb is lethal. Now it's the first of 2 DRS zones around this track at turn 13, as we've seen as well. Pines, Tiddlewink and Legends just getting their laps underway too. There will be Shadows who sets the first run of the quartet, as Junuvane improves even more to a 111.3, and that's on an older set of tyres that have actually had a lap under their belts. So keep an eye on Junuvane throughout the rest of qualifying. Now the Aston Martin of Shadows, very much all eyes are on him. It's a 110.9, and it's the first driver into the 110s this evening.
Yeah, we're just seeing Tiddlewink go across the line, a 111.1. Legends soon to follow goes a 111.1 as well. So Legends made up a little bit of time over sectors 2 and 3. He was about a tenth behind Tiddlewink after sector 1, and that is going to prove to be a good ongoing battle between these guys at the front this evening. Good pace shown in Q1, and now of course Shadows now getting into the 110s in Q2. It's all hotting up.
And how about that from Pines? A 110.749.
Yeah, what a lap. And really, all of a sudden, that lap from Junuvane not looking so hot. He's down in 5th. I'm sure just a minute
Oh,
and
sorry,
a
David.
half ago.
And Drive on Driver's done what Tiddlewink done in Q1. Sort of cutting there, David, but on the
That's
on the
all right.
traction, it's all right. On the traction, lit up the rears, and does a full 180, pendulums it back round though, and can go again, possibly get back to the pits. But Drive on Driver really struggling so far, but I think saving it for the end. And Jake, I think, rather contradicted himself, saying in the Twitch chat that his heart can't stop beating. Well, sure.
Yeah, well, I think
Yeah.
it should stop beating.
I
Well,
don't I don't
if it
think
is
it's
stopped beating, he's 7 tenths behind the leader, mate. You need to go out again, Jake.
yeah. Tier 1 title, by the way, he says. Obviously, a bit of a running joke. And Jake, just because you're slow around Zandvoort doesn't mean you're not slow anywhere else. You've had like 4 podiums this season, which is more than what most of this tier actually have so far. So you make yourself stand out a little bit among the paddock. So if I were you, I'd retire the next 2 races and not bother. Take the heat off you a little bit.
Yeah, not that the recruiting and tiering team going to pay any attention to races in which you decide not to take place.
Totally.
Uh, Till's just said, "I will go tier one. I don't mind."
Oh, well, alright, well, I've got egg in my face. Apparently the title says Tier 1 instead of Tier 2. Well, okay. Right, bear with us, ladies and gentlemen, as I am gonna wipe the egg off my face and change the title
I,
of the stream.
I, I can do that now if you
Please.
want. I've got the I've
I've
got
still...
the creator hub up.
yeah, I've still got egg in my face, by the way, from the general, so...
Yeah, well, that's fine. So stream title is updated, and well, let's put it this way, Gary. If you're complaining that much, press the F5 key, or refresh your page, I suppose, if you're on your tablet or phone.
Yeah. And Yorkie actually saying could be tier 1 with these times. He's not lying, to be fair. He actually isn't lying too much.
Yeah, a 110.7 in Q2 is something else.
Yeah. So I think everyone getting their set and running quite quickly, so we'll actually jump back towards the general and see what they can offer. Up towards turn 8, and he's actually down in his time, which I don't think is what he wants, but, well, Shadows are actually retiring on a 110.9, and to be fair, I don't blame him on anything towards the 110s. Oh, Jake!
Oh.
Joe! Jake's the changed man from last week, everyone.
Yeah, and he's changed his car from functioning to not functioning.
He's went from 4 wheels to a tricycle.
Yep, and well, that is bad news for one of the McLarens thus far. Lexus not looking too great either after his lap is on 11.8 only, and I think we're looking at around a 111.5 for the cut-off time. It could very well be a 111.4 at the rate that the laps are coming in. And I think the next man to be setting a lap in those bottom 5 at the moment is likely to be Silverside Boy. He's not even finished his out lap, so...
Yeah, and as well, I was just looking through the track map there, seen a yellow flag around turn 10, and that was looking like Tiddlewink and Legends just keeping well out the way of everyone on their current lap, as well Snedden rather unnoticed up to 4th on a 111.1, right behind Legends as well, as Nigel Piddle improved up to 6th on a 111.2, and has now been displaced down to 7th as Junivane on a 111.0, and now Legends is going to start their lap now. Nice try, Codemasters. Tiddlewink on their lap as well, and just scrolling through the top 10 to see who's actually on a lap, as I think that's Jaffmaster keeping out the way of everyone exiting the pit lane. Silverside Boy is on a lap, and it's up by nearly 2/10 already, so we're actually going to follow the Williams for the rest of the lap. 3 minutes left to go in Q1, as I see Jake's rather upset with his, I say, unfortunate mistake, but I suppose better get the mistake out the way in qualifying than in the race, because the race is where it counts. And by the way, Jake, you know fine well about winning from 15th place, which is where you should actually be starting this evening if everyone improves by a 111.4. And still a yellow flag up at the stadium section. That's Junivane, I think, keeping out the way of Tiddlewink on their lap. We're going to follow Silverside Boy up by 2/10 currently. He needs to find a whole lot more time throughout the course of the lap, and this could be his final run in qualifying, and it's not enough. It's a 111.6, and Silverside Boy is in serious trouble here.
Yeah, you argue he's got enough time for a cool down lap and going again on these tyres, but it's not looking likely unless there was an obvious mistake. I'm not seeing Gary getting out of Q2 here.
Oh, just now everyone's on their outlap, but Lexus is just leaving the pit lane now, and I was getting a bit worried there. I was wondering for a minute there if Lexus forgot he wasn't safe at that time, as Silverside Boy keeping well out the way of Drive on Driver, whose teammate Tiddlewink skyrockets up to 2nd place. and Tiddlewink as well, showing again that they've got a lot of qualifying pace too. Just very, very unlucky in the race. But Silverside Boy, will actually have a look at his telemetry, and he's on 50% battery, and yeah, this is going to be his only run. It's going to be his only chance. I don't think 55% battery is enough for a lap, but he'll get everything he can out of that Williams, I'm sure, because he's got to find at least a tenth and a half to have a chance at survival. And meanwhile, Diamond starting their lap, Phenom on their lap, up by nearly two
Jaff's
tenths
nearly
in the
finished
first
his.
sector alone. And as David said, we'll jump back towards Jaffmaster, up by half a second. And so far, not enough either. He's got to look towards the mid 111s, and it's a 111.3 for the Alfa Romeo. And Jaffmaster has gave himself at least a fighting chance, and he's not to go down quietly in Q2.
Yeah, good improvement there from Jaff, and yeah, he is looking likely to be near safe with that time. We do have 3 drivers coming through. I think that was one Revengezilla right there, going up into the P10 with a 111.3. So jumping General Jake, who will at the moment sit in P11. And well, it's the checker flag is out, so it's all go from here. Next person, Diamond.
And Diamond's not made it either. So both of the Alpha Tauris are out before Q3, and that is, I would say, a very big surprise. As you mentioned, General Jake is knocked out already, but Revengezilla on a 111.3 is the benchmark. Drive on driver doesn't have enough in the tank. Silverside Boy didn't have enough tyres left and is out, so this is now all down to Lexus, who's only up by a tenth of a second. He's got to find another half a second in this final sector alone, which is going to be near enough an impossibility for the McLaren driver up to the line, and he does it. He had actually done it. Where on earth has Lexus found half a second in 2 corners? That is an astonishing lap time from the McLaren, and Jaffmaster makes it through, but Revengezilla at the final moments is knocked out, and he's not going to improve in his time, obviously backing off, thinking he was safe, but arriving on the scene was the McLaren of Lexus, and I would say has somewhat avenged his teammate. And Silverside Boy too, very upset, but he said he was up by 2 tenths and he ran out of fuel. Oh, dear Silverside Boy. And to be fair though, he was up by 2 tenths, no matter where that was in the track. That might have only actually put him in 12th. So, suppose it's better than P15 for the Williams driver. Drive on driver knocked out as well. So one Mercedes is up in second, the other one is out in Q2. Diamond, I'd probably say the pick of the lot, being knocked out in Q2, and it was rather unexpected. General Jake making that mistake midway through the session, and Revengezilla being beaten by the fellow McLaren of Lexus right at the end. But much like Q1, it's Pines setting the pace.
Yep, and on a similar note, so while Gary going out, there's a very quick poll going up. Who bottled worse, Gary or Arsenal? Well, we'll find out very, very soon, in about 25 seconds. But yes, you can see it here, the losing drivers from Q2. Silverside Boy in P15, Drive on Driver P14, Diamond in P13. Disappointment from him. General Jake putting it in a wall, and Revengezilla unfortunate to lose out on the very last moments of qualifying, but the whole field covered by less than a second. So yeah, that is disappointing, as Gary has won the Who Bottled Worse race.
Ah, well, but still, regardless, Arsenal are giving him a run for his money, as Shadows gave you a channel points redemption, and Jake has redeemed another Truth or Dare for me. So I think I'll answer Jake first, and since I answered a truth the last time, Jake, I'm going to give myself a dare this time, because that's not gonna bite me in the bottom at all.
That has to be done. Has to be done in the session.
I've got to balance the books, and I think David is is due a certain phrase.
Yeah. Are we going for it right now? I was just yeah, I'll go for it now. So who we going for? Anyone in particular? Anyone in Q3? Well, who gets my vote? I reckon Jaff. Jaff gets my vote.
Well,
So Jaffmeister, to you, sir. Oh, daddy.
yeah. And I'm pretty sure Jaff Master was your pick for pole position as well, unless you were directing that towards them. I'm not too sure. Is Jaff Master your pick for pole?
No, he was just a driver that I picked at random.
Fair enough. Fair enough. He still wins anyway. That's all. Interesting pit lane there. And I think actually, can I throw this quickly out to the Twitch chat? Who is your pick for pole? As I'm still waiting on that question, Jade. By the way, he's probably thinking. Right, Jade. That's right. Well, I've already failed it. To be fair, it says, "Cruz, I dare you to say yes for the next 3 minutes when you talk." But I'm main comms. How am I meant to do that?
I guess maybe he means to any question.
Like, right, we'll go with that. So I'll start it at the 10-minute mark. Yep, so we'll start at the 10-minute mark and go through to the 7-minute mark. So that'll be my 3 minutes, Jake. So we'll go from there as we get underway for Q3. And shortly enough, without any diamond to do it, at least lead the track, it will be Phenom to get us underway in Q3. And as Jake says, 10-minute mark, yes.
Well, that's an exciting start to the 10-minute mark as we are just getting ready with a pole for pole. Monkey Boy Kurt rejoins the session, presumably done screaming into his pillow. What do you reckon?
Yes.
This is fun, this. Yes, so I lost my train of thought, but let's type in some names for the pole for pole. I'm gonna go with and one more name. Give me a number. Once to you've got to say yes. Shall I go for number? I'm gonna go for number 3. Yes.
Yes.
Right, the pole for pole is live, ladies and gents. So take your pick. And I've got some things to mark off. And well, there you go. That is the fastest lap of the session so far, isn't it, Cruiser?
Yeah, yeah.
I have to get a bit more inventive with this. And there you go. There's Rapid from Legends going top, just 1,000th faster than the top time in the previous session. So really thin margins here. I'm just going to assume Legends, that was a fresh set of tyres. And well, with 1 minute 10 left to go on the yes counter, I think it's about time we spoke about Austria last season. I definitely would have overtaken you anyway, wouldn't I? And I would have just like not hung behind if I wanted to. I'm sure that's the case. Don't you agree?
Yes.
Oh dear! Wow, this is getting all too fun. With 38 seconds to go, Gary sent me a question right now via Discord. He says, "Cruiser, will you marry me?" You can't stall it out for 15 seconds. Also, maybe Gary didn't send that message at all. 10, 9, 8, 7. Oh dear. No, Jake. There are certain things I don't say,
Right,
and
thank
that is one
fuck.
thing you don't say. Um,
Anyway,
and
Pines is up in a 110.6. Thank God for that, and thank God you didn't read Twitch chat, David.
yep, and for that, I would never make you say that, Cruiser.
Thank
So
you.
actually, if you want to address that question right now, as you can in your
Yeah,
freedom,
yeah. Jake, Gary, I know you're in a party with each other. You set that up, and I hope you both been at this race. I would never answer that, because it's false.
get douche. Ah, oh, there you go. Peace and order has been restored to
There we go.
FPRL.
Stay at the system. I had 3 minutes of silence almost, so I'd already get it in the system.
Yep. Oh god, the things they're coming in. They're coming in. And
Aye, more drink
we've had the
redemptions as
truth
well.
there. We've had. We haven't had the safety car question. How many drinks have you done, dear sir?
None.
I've got some to catch up on.
I've done
So
none.
you've got. So
I
you've
think we've
got a
got
couple to
4.
get through.
I think we've got 4 actually, so we'll do that at the midway point. As I think Lexus is on their cooldown lap, we're actually spectating them for a quick moment. Junuvane, I think, is going for another lap, potentially on another set of new softs, and he does improve up to 5th, but he'll get back to the pits, I'd imagine, as it's now your turn, David, for a truth or dare, courtesy of Mr. Jake F1. I suppose Jake's not better to do with his time, so it might as well make you the enemy this time.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Jake, I'm going to go for a truth. Why not, indeed?
Good.
Because your dares are absolutely cruel.
Yeah, can't wait for the next one.
I'll boo you.
Yeah.
Technically speaking, we shouldn't. We probably should alternate between truth and dare.
hold on. Jake has said he wanted a date. Was that the dare?
I say.
Was that the dare?
That's a hell of a dare, and also, I don't fancy going to jail.
Think,
so.
yeah, I think you'd end up in trouble with that, David. To be fair. Anyway,
Yeah.
this is a reminder to all in FPRL that we do not condone anything said in Twitch chat if it's used in an out of context manner. Thank you.
And absolutely anything that Jake says.
Anything that Jake says we can.
For my truth.
Yeah, anything that Jake says we just ignore or take the piss out of it.
As you should do. Right. Yeah, still waiting on that truth.
Jake said he was going to make you say no for the next 3 minutes. Well,
Yeah,
wow.
Quite simply to that, no.
Creative, Jake. So creative, such creative variety.
Yeah.
You don't. Oh, honestly, I bet for not. And he was thinking so hard for that one. For that one, says right. If I let Cruiser go for 3 minutes, I can make David say no for 3 minutes. So creative, Jake. So creative. Oh, there you go. And here's your question, Jake. From Jake. David, if you could become invisible, what's the worst thing you would do?
So, obviously, initial thoughts, football. Can I do something evil in football? Probably not. It's not. I'll tell you what. The worst thing I would do, and it's a little bit lame, but I'd travel my way to London, get to Westminster, and just trip up Rishi Sunak. just trip him up.
Well.
It's evil, but funny.
Your key suggestion was actually on the right lines as well. I'm not going to repeat it for the sake of politics, but it does involve the Conservative Party. That's all we're going to say.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I think David was trying to restrain himself from laughing there, to be fair. Seeing Yorkie's idea. Yeah, this is going to go south very, very quickly with these point redemptions. And suppose as well, a bit shameless as well.
Even further south.
Yes, somehow. And as well, of course, all of our races are streamed on twitch.tv/FP Racing League. And you get channel points, which is what our drivers and viewers are using to redeem these Truth or Dare questions, the famous Silverside Boy quote to AMS Drive. I'm not going to repeat it because it's not been donated yet. Nudge the shoulder incentive to everyone. As I was saying as well, you just get points for tuning in and watching the stream, and as well hitting the follow button will give you, I believe, enough points for either a drink redemption, to be nice, or to be evil, a truth or dare redemption. And as well, we're in the process, pardon me, of getting some more channel point redemptions in the channel as well. So, got any ideas? Let us know in the Twitch chat or through our Discord server. As I've mentioned as well, Nightbot is giving out links to our Discord server every 20 minutes. We are live, and as we get underway for the final run in Q3, David, very quickly, who's your money on for pole?
Well, it is hard to look past Pines at this precise moment, but I reckon Legends has got a really good lap left in him, and I would, at the very least, like to see him challenge that 1:10.685 from Pines. So I'm actually, yeah, I'm doubling down. I'm going on Legends.
And there we go, we're going to follow Jaffmaster though, who's going to be the first driver to get their final run completed in Q3, as we still have our pole for pole up very, very quickly, which sees Pines absolutely storming it currently with 10 votes. And the next closest to him is on 2 votes, that being Tiddlewink, up in 4th. But Jaffmaster now up towards the stadium sector, he's up by nearly 3/10. And if he echoes that, he's got a good chance here at getting on the front row. As we got a yellow flag, that is looking like the Aston Martin, actually not the Aston Martin, it's the Alpine of Nigel Piddle, who's made a very, very big mistake and is not going to improve from 7th place. It's now Jaffmaster up to the line first in Q3 and puts himself 4th on a 1:11.010, as that's a McLaren going slow, as Lexus, who's made a mistake too, going around turn 8, so Lexus won't improve either, as the checkered flag is out. For the final time in qualifying, we're going to jump towards Phenom and see he's actually behind his teammate on track, but it's now Lexus who's up by nearly a 10th. This could be just enough to sneak it ahead of Pines, and your double down, David, is working for now, as it's currently a Haas 1 and 3 with Legends just pipping Pines, who's up by 2/10 of a second. This could be an incredible lap here for the Red Bull driver. Keeps it under control around the final corner, and get ready, this is going to be a 1:10.509. That
What a lap!
is a statement.
That is tier 1, is what that is.
Anyway,
yeah.
throughout the field, Junivane improves up to 7th. Snedden has not improved either.
He improved, just not in time. Well, he improved in time, just not position. He was 3rd place at the time, but he has since dropped down into P6. But yeah, it's just what a lap. That's crazy. That is P2 in tier 1, as Jake rightfully says.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry,
no comment.
Pines, but if you can't raise tier 1, that's not our problem. Next season, of course. We're not going to move you now.
Yeah, that is a lap.
Yeah, big hello to Marco in the chat, and it's a name I recognise. Seen you join the server recently, saying, yeah, cracking lap, and yeah, we can only agree with you, as we can actually see Pines did win the pole for pole. So, well, there you have it. Statistically speaking, 10 people are correct. So thank you very much for spending your votes in our pole for pole. And, well, there's your top 10 for the race then.
Absolutely. And as well, I'll throw out a quick hello to Mr. Marco as well, joining us recently, as David said. And I believe Marco is among one of many new Tier 4 drivers who you might be able to watch on Sundays in FPRL. Of course, our inaugural Tier 4 campaign reaching towards the end of its season and campaign, and hopefully we've got potentially a final race shootout to follow as well, and around the track I'd say that very much deserves to be the final race on the calendar, but we'll save that for another day. And as mentioned as well, Tier 4 this Sunday 8 PM UK time. Come on through and support the stream, as I believe it'll be Mr. Silverside Boy and Mr. Locker who will be your commentary pairing, at least for the moment, for that stream. And Silversay Boy saying, you say that every time. I've got to. I've got to try bring the numbers in for Sundays. So, Gary, come on. It's the only way we're going to be able to promote the stream.
Absolutely. Getting the plugins that I always forget to do, so
Yeah.
big up to the Cruiser.
Yep.
I'm really looking forward to that one. Watching it back anyway. Obviously, I will be racing.
Oh!
And, hello.
I think
Got a bit short
Silversay.
there.
I think Silversay Boy is rather licking his lips at this.
Yep. There's a new elephant in the room, and that
well.
elephant is Gary's Host Start Plus full traction.
But down in 15th place, though, he's going to have to be very careful at turn 1, much like everyone, because I believe this will be the first proper time we will have a wet running in qualifying. As Fishsticks has mentioned, that inters can go quite long. Could we see a few lights to checkered flag strategies here? I wonder.
Yeah, I wonder. It'd be unusual for the game to not change the weather over the period of a 30-odd lap race. I'm trying to look a little bit more at the track to see what the conditions are, but whether it's interweather or wet, we might see a split strategy on the start, and it's going to be a gamble, at least from some of the drivers. Oh no, don't do this to me, game.
Oh.
But there you go. Intermediate. Snedden's just selected the wets.
Ooh.
Although he might have just been listening to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, majority of the drivers on the intermediate weather, not quite wet enough, and quite possibly not looking to get any wetter for at least the time being.
And Pines is rather shot down any thought of wet weather running, saying it is intermediate conditions. As somewhat early question mark on the lobby countdown, and Nigel saying it's doing a pour down around lap 4.
And you can sort of see that because he also has gone for the full wets, although Snedden's changed his back to intermediates, obviously getting too scared by the counter. I'm going to keep... Pickle's either chickened out or he's having us off.
Never know. Bluntly saying, did you enjoy the drink redemptions I redeemed? I think I'll speak for David and
Absolutely.
say exactly that. And
beautiful.
as well, David, I think we'll know the answer towards my bevy of the night. What would be yours this evening, just while we're on the topic?
Yeah, while we're on the topic, I'm going with a Monkey Boy special. Not quite a Monkey Boy special. It's Dead Man's Finger, which is the Monkey Boy part. But yeah, it's rum and raspberry tequila rum and Pepsi Max. We'll get it out eventually.
There you go.
It's not bad. It comes in a really nice skull bottle though, so kind of maybe that's why I had it.
Fair enough, as the name suggests. And I myself, not going for the good old Scottish iron brew, as some would think. I've went for a Pepsi Max this evening, which is kind of my go-to, to be fair. Anyway, we're actually halfway around the formation lap. An idea of just how short this track is. Not quite as short as Austria, but I would say as well just how fast it is. You should at least make comparisons to this track around the likes of Silverstone, being a very momentum-based track, very high speed. So overtaking could be difficult, and as well with it being wet conditions, there won't be any DRS until the track dries out, if it does dry out. So it's going to become a very big tactical battle, and could actually as well... I wonder how many drivers have went for a wet, or at least a wetter setup, as Pines backing up the field, almost in towards each other, like an accordion there. But Pines, Legend, Shadows, Tiddlewink and Phenom the top 5, and behind Jaffmaster, Nigel Piddle playing a few mind games here, I'd imagine, backing up the field, and this would be ideal. Oh, thank you, Ghosting. This would be ideal if it were dry conditions, but unfortunately not, at least for the intermediate tyres. It doesn't have too much in terms of tyre temperature, as Tiddlewink has been disqualified from the session, and now we play the favourite pastime of Where on earth is a good camera angle for turn 1? The answer is not likely, but we need to make use of what we can.
Yeah, that's not a bad one. Broadcast from P1, a little bit more zoomed in. Tiddlewink is going to really suffer on those ice cold inters as we get ready to go.
Absolutely, the rain pours in Zandvoort, and Jaffmaster's got a drive-through for jumping the start, but the lights go out and the race is on. Jaffmaster got the launch too early, but he hasn't started the race, at least at the same time as everyone else. In towards turn 1, we go Legends and Pines having a bit of a squabble with 3 wide further back towards the back of the pack, and still in rows of 2 here. It's like Noah's Ark here, and very much having to sail away in these conditions around turn 4. It's Pines, Legends, Tiddlewink, Snedden and Junivane, the top 5. Phenom having a battle here with Shadows in towards turn 6 and turn 7. Phenom losing a place off at the start but making a place back against the Aston Martin. It's Nigel Piddle, Revenzilla and Jaffmaster with that drive-through looming over his head. Down in 10th, that will promote Lexus up into the top 10 and the points once Jaffmaster serves that early penalty, which is going to really haunt him towards the later stages of this race, as we see the Aston Martins fighting away with Nigel Piddle. He knows a thing or two with this, as Nigel Piddle around the outside here at turn 12 trying to get the better run against Shadows in towards the stadium section. We're going to jump on board with Shadows here and see that Nigel Piddle looming large behind the back of that Aston Martin, but he's just not close enough in towards the stadium and a bit of the track, which I find overtaking near enough impossible. But as we complete lap 1 already, Pines establishing a 1 second lead ahead of Legends, and both of these two are 1.4 seconds clear. I say Legends actually, 1.4 seconds clear now, 1.5 seconds clear, 1.6 seconds clear of Tiddlewink, who's struggled around the banking. This now going to put Snedden all over the back of the rear wing of that Mercedes, the Williams, and the Mercedes is silver versus the navy blue, and it's the navy who'll come out on top in the wet. Well, no he won't, it's the silver arrow holding it around the outside, but Snedden getting the inside line in towards turn 3, forces Tiddlewink tight in towards turn 4 around the carousel. We've seen the outside line has the better advantage here for momentum. Around the outside goes Snedden, gets the better traction and gets ahead of Tiddlewink. Brilliant racing from the pair of them, great respect shown, and it's Snedden who's up into the podium places.
Yeah, great bit of battling and a great lap 1 in general from the guys in tier 2. Not too much to talk about. Shadows having a little bit of a poor start. Drive on driver and General Jake also suffering, losing 4 or 5 places each. Silverside Boy, on the other hand, with his
oh dear, Snedden's still clear of Tiddlewink, but Nigel Piddle getting caught up behind the back of Junivane, forcing Shadows to get a bit squirrely, and has now lost out to the Alpine and his teammate. So Shadows just keeping out of trouble there, sort of cutting there, David, as well. But that was a very tight fight around a very small piece of tarmac, and 3 cars into that part of the track just wouldn't be accepted there, and Shadows has been declined any entry, and at least he's still running in this race, but he's lost out very badly at the start. As we have a look at the positions graphic, if I can find them, as Jaffmaster is serving his penalty. Shadows is down 6 places from the start, and that is a nightmare situation for the Aston Martin. Unlike his teammate Revenzilla, up 3 places, Silverside Boy up 4, but the biggest winner, shockingly enough, is Monkey Boy Kurt from 18th up to 13th place, up 5 places, and the biggest loser, I think to no one's surprise, with their drive-through penalty, is Jaffmaster down 10 places, as Drive on Driver is in the pits. That could be, as we'll scroll down, that is for a set of intermediate tyres and potentially a front wing change for the Mercedes. So not a good start there for Drive on Driver or Jaffmaster, as actually towards the back of the field. Hirsch making the mistake getting passed by Michaelo, and that's the fight for 16th place, as I think the field's starting to spread out a little bit, but also developing a few tightly contested feuds on track, as I think Revengezilla is getting very antsy behind the back of Nigel Piddle.
Yep, very close still in these mid pack battles, going all the way back to Hirsch, who really looks like he is struggling on the traction out of some corners. The lone Ferrari tonight not having a good deal of it so far. He has been passed by Michaelo, as you said, and looks maybe even like there's a little bit of lag going on there. But let's hop on to Diamond Douchey, who is getting past Shadows, and yeah, it's just going from bad to worse for the man in green. Next up for Douche is Revengezilla, and we saw these guys giving each other a slipstream in qualifying. Well, it'll be a different story now, that's for sure. As Revengezilla
Zilla's
touches
bite.
the grass, but I think he's got away with it. Oh, heart in
Yeah.
mouth moment.
Very much so. Going around that part of the track, it's so loose. It's almost like a soapbox going down there. You've just got no control, and going on the grass does not help your cause at all. And and I think I noticed as well at the top of the up top of the screen regarding the fastest laps. Pine setting the fastest lap, and Legends stealing it right back. And the gap has actually been, I think, it's been a bit neutral at 1.1 seconds as we got a yellow flag down towards the stadium section, and I think Roundsy might have came into a bit of trouble there. Either that or it was Michaelo against General Jake, and this fight here actually down for 16th is really close as we've got a yellow flag around the final corner, and I think it might have been Tiddlewink who's been caught out a little bit. Has got a bit of oversteer around the final corner actually, and has got Phenom right on the back of them. As we'll have a look here, and Tiddlewink, that's a white line around turn 1, has Tiddlewink going into the barrier and has lost the front wing. Now doing very wide there around turn 4. Tiddlewink is in major trouble here. And now Junivane caught up behind the back of the Mercedes driver, and it's all a bit of a Constantina now as Junivane, Nigel, Revengezilla, Diamond, Shadows and Silverside Boy arriving on the scene as well. Tiddlewink losing their front wing and is going to be losing a ton of places here, and potentially the people behind are going to be losing a lot more as well, as Revengezilla still looking for that move on Nigel Peddle. Nigel Peddle trying to return the favour towards Junivane, and now Tiddlewink tries to get out of the way. Nigel dives down the inside towards turn 10. Gets a bit of snap oversteer now. And now we've got around 7 cars here fighting over the one place. Now Nigel getting boxed up again behind the back of Tiddlewink. This is Revengezilla's chance with 3 wide here. Obviously Tiddlewink trying his best to stay out the way and keep up with the rest of the field as to not cause any problems and tension, but it's Revengezilla now towards the outside. Nigel shuts the door on Revengezilla over the curb, and now we've got a massive pack of cars here. You've got around 8 cars here separated by around 2 seconds. It's now Tiddlewink around the final corner. He's got to do his best to keep out the way of everyone, as he's doing, I would say, a very, very good job actually, but he's going to have to peel it in the pit lane now to get a new front wing on that car, but he doesn't. He stays out. What is Tiddlewink doing?
That is not the smartest decision he will make today, and yeah, I kind of suggest that he should come in. Although it could be a good indication, maybe the weather's about to change, and it's just worth taking a couple of laps of extra pain. But
the rain has stopped.
Come on. It's still just about happening on my screen, but. No, okay, yeah, it's actually stopped. Rain has stopped. So if you are Tiddlewink, is that extra lap going to be worth it? Only time will tell. I think there'll be a few unhappy drivers there that got a little bit boxed behind. It's lost some time. You see Junivane now 2.2 seconds ahead of Piggle in 6th. They are fighting further back still. Tiddlewink is carrying on, and that is a Merc up the inside, coming into sector 3. Tiddlewink, is he going to stay another lap? For his sake, I hope not.
Yeah, I don't think this is the wisest decision from Tiddlewink, but he's keeping well out the way of Monkey Boy Kerr, and as the rain has ceased and Tiddlewink again is taking the hit, which I find a little bit silly there from the McLaren driver as we do a move further back. Hirsch and Michaelo wheel to wheel around turn 1. These two having a right go at it towards the back of the pack. Hirsch and Michaelo and Hirsch now in towards turn 4. The Alpine getting by the Ferrari, and that's Michaelo returning the favour to Hirsch up now towards 15th place. Meanwhile, towards the midfield of the track, these two just don't know when to stop, do they? Diamond and Shadows always find a way to share the same piece of track. I mean, I for one don't complain about it. These two give us absolutely thrilling racing, they really do. But there's got to be a time and moment where you've got to think, is it like Groundhog Day for these two? Because for all the battling, as it is very enjoyable and intense, it seems to be a bit repetitive at the same time, but the gap as well is around half a second, and with the track starting to dry up, DRS is going to be enabled very, very soon here. But as well, When will the crossover point be as Pines another fastest lap on a 1:19.948, and that gap at the front is going to be 7 tenths of a second, and that gap as well, 4 seconds between Snedden and Legends, which is now 6 seconds too between Snedden and Phenom. So we're seeing a lot of, I say, a few lonely drivers in this race, but all the action here in the midfield. But that'll change very, very quickly once the pit stops are in action as well.
Yeah, and if you're Tiddlewink, who has stayed out another lap, by the way, if you're Tiddlewink, you just got to take the chance. You got to take the chance. It's stopped raining. You got to come out. The problem is if you're going to try and pit to not have to pit again, it's going to be the hard tyres, and the hard tyres are going to be absolutely treacherous in these conditions, especially if you're running low tyre pressures. That to get heat into them is going to be a dismal adventure. So this fight for P7 still going on then.
Absolutely, and the fight further up as well, in the fight for 5th place, as Revengezilla starting to back up Diamond, maybe trying to frustrate him to allow his teammate through, as Legends and Pines are in a class of their own, up at the front, 4.6 seconds between the top two, and Snedden in third. Snedden trying all he can, but he just can't keep up. It looks like it's going to be a 2-horse race so far in this race, as Nigel Piddle as well, getting a little bit closer to the back of Junivane. Of course, Junivane having that titanic battle last time out with Tiddlewink to secure victory in this race, as we've got a fight here for 10th place between Silverside Boy and Lexus. Silverside Boy swoops around the outside of the McLaren past a tighter line in towards the carousel. You park it on the apex, you deny the slingshot, but Lexus is going to have a run on him in towards turn 8, but he thinks better of it, and Silverside Boy gets the move done on the McLaren, is back up into the points, and is 2.5 seconds behind this fight, as Shadows down the inside at turn 10. This is a very rare overtaking opportunity, but Shadows is going to try and make it work against the AlphaTauri. These two wheel to wheel still, it cannot be separated, and now Lexus around the outside of Silverside Boy 2, I think got a bit bogged down, and now the helicopter camera giving us a brilliant shot of these two drag racing down towards turn 12 and towards the stadium section. The fans will be going absolutely mental here, as Diamond gets shown the door there from Shadows, and that's now Aston Martin 7 and P8. And as the track begins to dry up, one of these two Aston Martins will have to take the hit. And as of right now, Revengezilla will have track priority, but he goes very wide there at the banking. Could that be front wing damage for Revengezilla, as Silverside Boy is the first to pull the trigger? They are in the pits, and I would think as well, as we'll jump back towards the Williams driver, surely that's going to be a set of dry tyres there, David.
Gary pulling the trigger first, and it looks like that. Oh, it looks like T-posing mechanics. So I can't see what tyres are going on. It's the medium tyres. Tiddlewink also going, as well as obviously getting that front wing repaired. So all eyes on Silverside Boy. I have to admit, it still looks a bit too wet, and we might not see any incidents from Gary's point of view, but keep an eye on Tiddlewink. He is on the hards, and I know he is not running full traction, so he's going to have the worst time of anyone. Driver also coming into the pits. What is presumably... No, that's another set of inters from driver. So, differing strategies in the Merc garage then, as Monkey Boy Kurt having a fight with General. And it looks like General Jake's come out on top there as they get very, very close, especially from the back. The Alpine of Mikhailo looking very, very fighty, although he has dropped off just a little bit. And you can see understeer there from the Alpine through that banked corner, and that could be a sign of things to come, as Hirsch trying to go up the inside once again of Mikhailo. And I tell you what, there's been some fantastic fights on track. I've seen some good side-by-sides with Lexus, Gary.
Oh, you spoke too soon.
And
What is it? What is it with Ferrari?
Yeah, to be fair, Hirsch pulls back and lets him go straight in front. So a little bit of good sportsmanship there.
Yeah.
You're looking,
Oh,
yeah, it's
Shadows! Shadow made a mistake. I think he got on the curb there around turn 11. And once you get on that curb, you're not going anywhere apart from straight on. And he's lost 3 places because of that. And that's now Shadows down towards 10th, but I suppose a slight positive if you want to call it that. He's got a bit of a gap between himself and his teammate as the top 2 have pulled the trigger. They are in the pits. Snedden's going to follow suit as well. Phenom and Junuvane, is the gap enough between the top 2, that being their teammates, to make this pit stop? And I think the answer to that is yes, both of them are in the pits. So that chain reaction from Silverside Boy might have led to something, as Diamond has stayed out another lap along with Lexus and Shadows as well. But Pines is exiting the pit lane now, and he's doing it a merge wheel to wheel here. Gets a snap oversteer, but that's now going to put him down in 4th. With the tyre warm up, he's now behind the intermediate runners who are forced to stay out another lap. Monkey Boy Kurt now in 6th, Snedden up to 7th, Junuvane in 8th, and Phenom, what has happened to him? He's lost out massively in this pit stop window. He was ahead of Junuvane, now he's behind Revengezilla, now down in 12th.
Yeah, likely to be a problem with the double stacking in the Haas garage. Now, interestingly, throwing a spanner in the works, it didn't actually really look like Silverside Boy was gaining the time. He didn't even set the fastest lap. His fastest lap was a 120.5, and that is 9/10 off Legends time in the intermediates. So, oh, Gary spun it, and his wheels gone.
Oh
No, Gary!
And that surely is. Where's the safety car? Where's the race control? Obviously they're on strike as the top 3 now are in the pits. Diamond, Lexus and Shadows. Careful not to get a speed delta. Indeed they don't. But Pines, I think, very grateful that wasn't a safety car, to be honest, as he now has that gap of 1.2 seconds. So he's gained a little bit throughout this window, and up there it is. So that...
Gary getting his excuses in, saying, what, now there's a safety car?
Yeah, and that has drastically helped Diamond and Lexus and Shadows. He get ahead. Junuvane flooring it to try and get ahead, and he's just beat Lexus out of the pit lane. But Diamond now up in 4th place, and Monkey Boy Kurt too from 18th now up to 10th. So Monkey Boy Kurt making up a lot of gains because of this, I would say, very fortunate safety car.
Yeah. Yeah, Gary getting his excuses in early. He says his controller disconnected through turn 7. That's not what I saw on my screen, sir. I saw you hit the curb and lose it, and then you turned out of the spin. And yeah, it just looks like a simple mistake on my part. But well, we'll see. We'll see. Zilla is on softs, as Fishsticks rightfully points out, and well, that is at the moment it's definitely going to benefit him at the early stages, and well, he's presumably going to be going onto a set of mediums to finish off this race. Revengezilla, then he's down in P8 and he's got his teammate in front of him, so given a little bit of teamwork, expect Shadows to maybe allow his teammate past in the early stages. But yeah, okay, we've got a little bit of a boring race here from now on. Ignoring any possible future incidents or safety cars. Everyone but Zilla on hards, presumably to the end.
Hards can definitely go the distance in this race, as I found out well enough in the Tier 3 race. As mentioned prior, 32 laps. Gambling on a safety car which never arrived. But, as David said, it's going to be, I say the pit crews have done what they could do for this race. As Silverside Boy says, his controller disconnected mid-corner. He tried to save it, but it was too late, and he's not on a wireless, he's actually on a wireless setup. And to be fair, I think I understand what he's saying there. Not having his back in this, but there has been times where your controller does disconnect. And Nigel says Tiddlewink is unbelievable, and I don't think he means that in a good way. I think Nigel, I think he's rather confirmed suspicions there. I'm not going to elaborate what Nigel said. He's not going to elaborate, but he said that Tiddlewink was very silly for what they've done. in a Nigel Pedal sense. So
Yeah,
we'll leave it at that. And yeah, I think actually now looking at that, it's explainable.
yeah. And
Uh,
well, as we're under safety car, and we
oh,
got one earlier, Jake has left the session. We do actually have a safety car question
oh,
in the bank. So that has come from Yorkie. We don't have the question yet, but Yorkie, if you're in the chat, still, please feel free to fire away your question, or tell me to scroll up if I have missed it. I've completely. It was Jake, wasn't it?
it was Jake. Yes, Jake left.
Yep. Do we have to get him back in? Oh, Jake
Uh,
Nichols.
yeah. Oh, so obviously, boys, that's Tiny join comms. Your call, David.
Oh well, your main comms didn't bother me. I'm just gonna sit here and drink and laugh at Gary.
Go on then, we'll get him in. What's one
All
more?
right. What's one more? Yeah, keep the energy levels up. Like I was saying to you earlier, Cruiser. I'll tell everyone I haven't had my afternoon nap, therefore I am a grumpy boy.
And there he is, ladies and gentlemen, is our first retirement in this race, making a quick dash through the commentary box, that being Mr. Silverside Boy. Oh, Gary, what have you
Yeah,
done?
yeah. I'm not used to this. Uh, it's too early for those dry tires.
So,
Couple more laps.
so yeah, Gary. Going on the pole, the very short pole at the end of Sector 2. You are trying to claw your way back, as are Arsenal, and well, I'd still say we're tied for biggest bottle job. We are getting ready to get going again, so I will stop taking the mick at this precise moment. But it's still 2-1 to Southampton, by the way, ladies and gents.
And there's your score update from David Lawface as we get back underway, and we're 4 wide in towards turn 1. This is going to end drastically here, and it has ended drastically. Revenzilla clobbering with Nigel Piddle, who's went over the curb and is now completely at the back of the field. And actually, driver on driver, nowhere near the field, taking another pit stop in this race. Pines, Legends, Sned, and still the 1-2-3 with Diamond up in 4th, obviously benefiting from that safety car. Junivane in 5th, Lexus 6th. Shadows and Revengezilla somehow only losing 1 place in that excursion, with Nigel Pido, Phenom in 9th, Monkey Boy Kirsta holding ground in 10th, and from as well Drownsy recovering what he can in this race up to P11 and on the fringes of the points so far. But Phenom, I think he's sniffing blood here with that possible damage Revengezilla has, and the fact he's on soft compound tyres, which will burn away very, very quickly. So Revengezilla guaranteed 1 more pit stop. So Phenom wanting to just stick behind the Aston Martin and benefit from any possible slipstream, and soon DRS. As Lexus is round, he's clobbered there, and Monkey Boy touched on too, and he's took Drowsy with him. Oh no!
Safety car.
I'm not sure. Well, it took like 2 years for it to happen with you there, Danny. But see,
Yeah.
Drownsy, yeah, that's sensible. That's how you pit with wind damage to the link. Nigel
Oh,
in the
nice.
pits as well, and Nigel's race is going from bad to worse, and somehow that's not a safety car. A car in the middle of the track is no safety car, which is interesting. Anyway, we'll move on from that, as it's Pines still leading the way, and Revengezilla now up to 6th place, getting by their teammate as well. And Shadows, Jake now up to 8th, Michaelo 9th, and Jaftmaster in 10th. But I see a penalty there for Michaelo, as it's a 5-second penalty. So I wonder if that was for any like a contact with someone, or that was for potentially speeding in the pit lane. Probably the latter of the two.
It was the latter.
There we go.
Can confirm.
As let's move on from that. As DRS is going to be activated here on lap 18, already half race distance here in Zandvoort, and Revengezilla, no one's surprise, on a fastest lap on softs. as we get out of the way, and there DRS has been enabled, but Legends very much keeping up to the back of the Red Bull. Pines, he hasn't ran away with this race despite showing his pace, and at least for now, but Legends giving him very much a run for his money.
Yeah, so Gary, as you're with us here now, what kind of insight can you give us about how the race was planning out? Is there anything that stuck out to you other than, you know, Tiddlewink maybe staying out for like 5 laps of no front wing? Well, Gary's dead, everyone. I hope you're happy.
He's speechless on the situation. He has no words for what Tiddlewink done. And as Bluntblade mentions as well, can we have a look at the penalty situation? It's a 5-second penalty for both of the Alpines, and both of them are for speeding in the pit lane. As we've got DRS now at lap 19 of 36, it's a Red Bull and a Haas up at the front, and Legends with that DRS, he hasn't gained, I would say, at all on Pines. So far has this race under control. Snedden and Diamond are going to get into a fight very quickly as well. That fight for third. Junivane, Revengezilla, and Shadow is starting to drop back a little bit from the pack in front, but still pulling away from the pack behind them. General Jake starting to get a little bit of a train forming behind the McLaren, that with Michaelo and Jaffmaster too, after that early drive-through penalty, has found himself back up into the points, and Jaffmaster on a very good recovery drive here in Holland, as Michaelo will have that 5-second penalty to serve potentially in the next pit stop, but that will be applied at the end of the race. So, at least for Jaffmaster's sake, he knows he's got to stay within 5 seconds of Michaelo, and he's got himself another point to his name. Meanwhile, up in this fight now for fourth, as Snedden has actually started to gain on the front too, and Diamond's starting to fall back towards the clutches of Junivane and Revengezilla, who's, as I've mentioned, is not going to get to the end on the soft compound tyres. I'd give him towards lap 25, and he's got to stop again for a set of mediums, but he's probably gambling in another safety car, which, will it arrive? I think obviously don't know after that crash with Monkey Boy Kurt. I think race control are very, very restrictive towards the safety cars this evening.
Yeah. Oh, you here, Gary?
Yeah, sorry, I was about to mention, anybody comes into the pit, they've got to be really careful. Well, for everyone. There is a really funny warning, track limits warning when you come in the pits. If you touch the white lines at all, coming in, you will get a warning.
Oh, they had
Anybody
this.
on 2 warnings, anybody gets 2 warnings, needs to make sure they come into... I'm looking at Zero now. He's got to be careful coming into the pits because he could easily pick up an easy just warning or penalty.
They had this for Abu Dhabi as well, if I remember, which is... It's an idea as to what this game is. Thank goodness.
Perfect with no bugs.
There it is. As well, suppose as well. I believe there's a closed beta for F123 coming out next Friday. So, fingers crossed, the game's playable.
You get picked.
Well,
You get picked, first of all.
true, I'm not really bothered about that, to be honest. But I'm just hoping the game is somewhat playable compared to this year. There's at least a quarter, is at least half of the bugs in this game. Anyway, moving on from the future, we are in the now. Right now, Revengezilla's tyres are starting to fall off, and Junivane starting to really pressure Diamond, whose ERS light is beginning to flash. He's below 10% as I make our way towards the middle sector of the lap. Junivane 4/10 behind the AlphaTauri, and Junivane are having a bit of deja vu, fighting off an AlphaTauri last time out for victory. He's now pursuing an AlphaTauri for 4th place, and potentially go on towards a victory. As Bluntblade mentions as well, Pines trying his best to pull out of DRS, but he's only half a second clear, which is what Legends is very much going to be happy with, as there's the 2 Aston Martins in the background fighting for 6th place. Junivane is going to be all over the back of Diamond with the DRS and the ERS, but Diamond has just enough in offer to hold off against Junivane as we got a yellow flag. Phenom and Tiddlewink having a collision further back, and we'll see Shadows getting by Revengezilla, who has dived into the pits. And I did say by lap 25, it's lap 22 for the Aston Martin on a set of mediums, and he'll actually emerge in 11th place. So he's not lost too much ground actually, but he's got an almighty task to catch up towards Hirsch. As he leaves the pit lane, that gap, I am guessing, is going to be around 9 seconds. It's, more than that. Nearly 11 seconds by the time the tyre warms up. So Revengezilla, 14 laps and 11 seconds. Looks like he knows what he's got to do to try and get some points. As the field beginning to spread out a little bit, but we've got fights throughout the pack. Michaelo in quite a few wars this race with Hirsch, now having a go at General Jake, but still tucked up behind the back of the McLaren. As mentioned, Junuvane having that squabble with Diamond, but the top two we've actually not had on stream very much throughout the 23 laps approaching in this race. Give them a bit of stream time. We've got Legends with the DRS starting to catch up to the back of Pines, but this main straight here in Zandvoort, it's just not long enough to really make it last as Nigel Pedal. Oh dear, Nigel. It's gone from bad to worse. Could it get worse? Very much it has got worse for the Alpine driver. Now down in last place, a 5-second penalty. And he's going to be doing all of the voodoo he can to try and make a safety car appear in the final 14 laps of this race.
Yeah, so pretty much past the middle stage of the race, getting towards the end. Tiddlewink just deciding whether he's staying or going. To quote the famous song by.
Should I stay or should I go?
There you go.
Oh, there,
Joan
there
Jett
it
and
is.
the
You mentioned
Blackhearts.
it. You
There
mentioned
it
it.
is.
There's the warning for Nigel. And he's
As he
lost the
gets in
front
paint
line.
there.
Oh, Nigel.
Well, if he clips that, he should get that removed if he puts it in.
I don't think it'll do much, to be honest. No offence to Nigel, but that's going to be putting a bandage on a flesh wound, to be honest.
It could be a safety car.
Well, it's
Oh, never
optimistic
mind, he's been
thinking.
lapped.
Yeah, very optimistic thinking there, I think, from Silverside Boy. But on lap 24, we got 13 laps remaining in Zandvoort. Pines, Legends, a class above the rest, to be honest, throughout this race. And these two putting on a stellar performance as permission to laugh
3-1
at
to
Arsenal. Yeah.
3-1 Southampton.
Oh, Arsenal with the bottle. As Tiddlewink's AI, I think. Oh, Drownsy has dropped it at the final corner. I thought Tiddlewink made a mistake there, but it was Drownsy who spun. Just gets it going though, and I think much like with Nigel Piddle, Drownsy's race has went bye-bye. Meanwhile, we'll jump back towards the front of the pack as Michaelo, getting a bit antsy as well behind Jade. We'll focus on this fight though for the lead. The gap, 7/10 of a second, now 6/10 of a second with the DRS. Legend's starting to catch up, but he's got to be almost pushing Pines around that final corner to have any effect with that DRS.
Yeah, and they've pushed a little bit more, Snedden dropping back and nearly into the clutches of Diamond, who has managed to stay ahead of Junuvane. Elsewhere, Gary.
Oh,
he's gone
Michaelo's
round
round and he's
Michaelo.
took Jake with them! And
I
there
think
goes
Jake
Jaff.
has been a very lucky boy.
He's got
He's
away
not
with no
got front
damage.
wing damage. What is
How
that?
has he done that?
Jake lets
it's
Jaff
all over
through,
you.
Jake. He's let. Those two had a bit of a contact earlier on at the start of the race. Jake wasn't too impressed, so I knew that was coming.
Well, regardless, 8.5 seconds between this fight now for P7 and this fight for P4. Shadows is caught right up towards Junivane, who's still stuck behind the back of Diamond Douche, and Snedden a bit of a lonely third right now. And now we'll jump back towards Legends. He's just not close enough, but he is catching up. Could this be his chance? He's gaining on Pines. He's now 3/10 behind. Junuvane.
Junu's round.
Oh, Junu's gone round. It's went wrong for one of the Red
This
Bulls.
is going to be nasty.
Oh, careful, lads. I'm all for a blind corner, but that's maybe a bit of a heart in the mouth there. As Jake getting by Jaffmaster with the DRS, breaks a bit deeper in towards turn 1, but Jake makes amends from earlier and is now back up into 6th place and is now 9 seconds behind Shadows and Diamond. Okay, yeah, these two don't know when to stop, do they?
To apologise, I was yeah, just getting Tiddlewink, making sure Tiddlewink was back in. I've
I'm
sent him
laughing
a
at Arsenal.
few. Yeah, I've sent him a few. I'm not sure whether he's joined and not being able to take control of his car or not. But yeah, we're looking very tight at the top. There's just 10 laps to go.
Then he's
Oh,
gone again.
Junu's
He's out.
gone! Safety
Oh,
car!
Junu, and that is a safety car. Safety
Nigel
car.
Ni-
Wow.
Nigel Pickle, put your clip in.
Just a very quick,
What clip was that?
before we get into this. It's 3-1 to Southampton. Thank you, Fishdix,
Oh,
in
that was
the chat for letting
late.
us know.
Pines, that was a late call.
And he's the one risking a penalty, and he is on to the medium tyres.
Right.
Now, could we see some split strategies here? Softs or mediums? It's mediums are Legends and Pines. Snedden has stayed out, or Snedden might have made a mistake here.
Why has he done that?
He's got nothing to lose.
Tell us your feelings, Gary. Tell us your feelings.
I have no idea he's done that. I'm not in the race, mate. He could have easily gained up loads of positions there, because our garage is right at the end. So everyone else, like Pines and Legends, might have got held up for a bit.
Yeah,
I don't know why he's done that.
He's not the only one. Lexus is staying out.
Revenge are taking the chance on the softs.
I mean, that's why they're
He's
there.
got to.
That is why they're there. There's only going to be 7 laps, I think, of running until the end, and you put very minimum wear on under these safety car conditions if you treat them right. And it's going to bunch everyone up again, and Nigel Pickle presumably is going to be pitting very soon, or has he been lapped?
He has been lapped. He's in the middle.
Lapped. Yeah,
Well,
he's in the
if-
queue.
If these guys are gentlemen, they will let the Piggle go.
He will have to drive off track though.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to have to be very well coordinated, I think. Yeah, because he's got to do 3. Come on, lads, make it happen. Let's see Piggle back on the lead lap.
No, he's got a lot of catching up to do if that's possible. But I think Legends is trying. No, he's thought about it. I think no, but Lexus, this has been a big mistake from him. Now he's pitting, but that is a set of soft tyres for Lexus. So maybe that's why he stayed out that extra lap longer. He's to find himself out of the points along with driver on driver on the set of medium tyres. Now a new set of medium tyres, so they're definitely going to the end. Lexus now going to be in 11th place. Revengezilla.
Good guy, Legends. Good guy, Legends.
And that's
He's
one.
Pines going to let him through.
He's trying. He's trying.
You need to go completely off track.
Come on,
got to be
lads.
careful.
You can do it. You can do it.
You can do it.
Never give up. Go on, Janu.
Depends if any.
Janu. Pines, you can do it, Pines.
It all depends if they want to risk a warning. Oh, he's going off. No, he's going wide. Is he letting him through?
Has he got it? No, unfortunately not.
Oh, come on.
This is
Pines-
heartbreaking for the Piggle.
Yeah.
To be fair, I think Pines is actually being quite smart with this. If he keeps Nigel behind him, Nigel's going to hold up Legends, which is going to allow Pines to have a clean attack at Snedden. So it's only mind game.
Yeah, I'm convinced that Pines is
Awesome.
not about to hold Legends up if he's the guy that willingly let him past.
He's
At
trying it
least I
though.
hope not.
He's trying to let him through, but that's a good point there. That's a good point there from Silverside Boy. You do have that buffer now in Nigel Pridle as Michaelo. Oh no, they went wide.
Oh, he did.
Oh,
they
he's
did.
through.
They
They're
both
gone. Go on, Nigel.
No,
Let that count. Go, Nigel, go, be free!
Nigel's got to be careful to get round the safety car without hitting it.
Be
And
free,
we all know what the
Nigel!
safety car is.
The green light. Yes, he's done
Go,
it!
Nigel! You don't one lap
I
to
don't
make
think
up
he's
in a
got-
lap.
I don't think he's going to catch up in time.
No, he's not.
If Snedden's
I
a
mean,
nice person to him, he
He's
could
got
held
to
up.
absolutely go for it, and he won't have a chance to pit off these
Go,
halves.
Nigel, go!
Oh, you'll have to see it.
He's back
Great
in the race,
teamwork.
everyone.
Great teamwork from Tier 2.
This would be a bigger comeback than Istanbul.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
Fair
definitely.
Play Award goes to Tier 2.
Right,
Also,
now...
Michelle got another penalty as well.
Yeah, oh, Michaelo. Oh dear. Wait, did you say Michelle?
Yep.
Yeah, Michelle. We call him Michelle.
Yeah, it seems like what happened the first time round, Michelo pit in the Alpine. Oh no.
Nigel, you don't have
Yeah,
a hope.
Snedden's already holding him up.
Michelo did get that 5 seconds, but actually the FIA have reapplied that 5 seconds because he wasn't seen to serve it properly in his previous pit stop. Where
Yeah.
have we seen that before?
Funnily
He
enough.
did. The mechanics touched the car before the 5 seconds were up, obviously.
Yeah,
Funnily enough, at Alpine
Hardly
as
not
well.
making it.
Looking at Ocon. Oh, yeah, Nigel's running around.
that was the
28.
joke.
But
Yeah, we move.
Yep.
And Snedden, good guy Snedden, is making it go as late as possible, giving Piggle the biggest chance possible to catch up. Some Max Verstappen strategy there, maybe from Legends, but it
Oh,
looks
there's
like
carnage behind.
Oh dear.
Oh, there's so much.
oh, someone's
Oh,
round.
Oh, it's
Drive.
Tiddlewinch. No, is it? Who is it? Is it Tiddlewinch?
Tiddlewinch.
It's Tiddlewinch who's
Yeah, so it's
gone.
oh, Shadows is gone.
Oh no.
And Hirsch.
Oh, it's all going on.
Hirsch has got himself beached.
Oh,
Tiddlewinch
Hirsch is
well done,
beached. Yeah, we saw that. Hirsch
Yep.
was beached.
How is
Meanwhile-
Jake P5 in all this?
Wait, what? Oh my goodness, yeah, Jacob in first.
He's a lucky boy.
Yep.
Jesus Christ.
Meanwhile,
Also,
Drowsy, another driver who went on softs, now behind Draft Masters, I think Silverside Boy. What was it you had to mention there?
Zero's got 5 seconds for annoying yellow flags.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah, I suspect he'll have a clip of that to submit. So, yeah.
Another penalty for an Alpine of Michaelo. Nice. It's not going to hurt him. Meanwhile, Snedden, I know Gary's going to be cheering him on as much as he can here, but he's got 6 laps to go here to hold on to what might be a very unlikely victory.
Yeah, and eyes on the chat, lads. So,
You son of a bitch. You son of a bitch. You stick me
David
up there.
Lowface, everyone, has redeemed a quote donation through channel points, and I think we all know where this one's going.
Can I change it up? I don't want to say that way. Can I change it up? Is that alright?
well,
Come on,
I
Daddy
had
Snedden.
another-
Come
I
on,
had
Daddy
another-
Snedden. Bring it home for the Williams. Come on, Daddy Snedden.
Did we count that?
There you go. Yeah, well,
No,
yeah.
we absolutely not. The channel points redemption is for a new daddy, and I think that's gonna have to be.
Oh, yellow
Oh, yellows.
flag! No,
Oh, it's
false alarm.
harsh,
It's
harsh.
harsh. Oh.
Beached himself again.
And he's
Yeah.
done it again.
So I'm gonna save that and say that whoever wins the race in the interview.
Aha, there you go. Anyway, DRS has been enabled. 5 laps left to go in Zandvoort. It's Snedden holding on for dear life up at the front, doing opposite around at the late safety car. He stayed out on a set of hards. Pines, Legends, Diamond and Jake box for mediums as Jaffmaster making a move on Phenom in towards the carousel, and Jaffmaster gets past Phenom and is up now into 7th place, and a very unlikely 7th place after that jump start drive through penalty he had. Meanwhile, Drownsy tried to go around the outside of Phenom, not enough though. And you're never going to go around the outside there. Inside is ambitious as it is, but around the outside, you'll be playing lottery in the middle of a motorway, I think, there with Drownsy, and it's not going to work out. But this fight up at the front, we got the top 6 within 3 seconds of each other here. As actually I've looked at leader graphic to prove my point. There we go, 2.2 seconds covering 6 drivers, and Snedden on 20 lap old hards, and is going to have to fend off Pines with DRS and a much fresher battery, as Pines now, I think, he's sizing up the overtake with the DRS. The overspeed too drastic, and ladies and gentlemen, we have an overtake on track on lap 33.
Oh my god, Legends went
Legends
through it.
are falling through. Legends not wasting any time. He knows he's got to get through. Touch! And it's no!
Oh, Jake's P3. How's this happened?
I think the door closed on the exit of turn 1, and yeah, I think there was a pinch.
He had to go for it, but I think Legends just forced Snedden into a position, as David said, he didn't want to be in, almost forced him off the road, and both of them have collapsed towards the back of the field, and that's now, as Silverside Boy mentioned, put Jake up to 3rd.
Oh, this can't happen.
How is
This cannot happen.
This cannot happen. He steals my win last week, and now he's going to get a jammy podium. This is not on.
You got to keep your nose clean in these sort of races. That's what I'm going to say on that matter, but it's no laughing matter, I think, for Legends, who was running in 2nd place for near enough 32 laps in this race. It's now down in 14th place. And Pines, I think, is now going to be laughing to victory here, unless Diamond, or even Jake for that matter, have anything to say about that. Meanwhile, further back, Jaffmaster being heckled by Drownsy, being overtaken by Drownsy. He's going to try and hold it around the outside in towards turn 1, but Drownsy on those soft compound tyres, better grip, and that's now Drownsy recovering for 6th place after their mishap in qualifying. But Pines and Diamond, 1.5 seconds between the pair of them. And AlphaTauri's fate now lies, well, AlphaTauri's hopes now lies with Diamond to try and pick up a victory, but he's got to pull out an almighty final 2 laps if he's got any chance of that happening.
Yeah, I'm keeping an eye out on the battle here for P3. Revengezilla doing very well. He's sticking with the front 3 at the moment. Well, he's sticking with P2 and P3, so at the moment looking like, well, it could be Jake, it could be Zilla, and that all, of course, will depend on that 5 seconds and the circumstances in which it was given. But the rest of the drivers seem to be dropping off a little bit. Phenom has, surprisingly, lost the DRS, at least momentarily. He's got it back in this start-finish straight, and Groundsy is, well, he has some time to find, as he's going to be looking to push those soft tyres to well, a better finish than P6. To be fair, he's done very well coming from where he has this race, but he's running out of laps to do it with just 2 to go.
And that 2 laps echoes the distance between Pines and Diamond. It's 2 seconds between the Red Bull and the AlphaTauri, and now the General Jake really starting to heckle Diamond. And Junovan earlier in this race couldn't get by Diamond, and now it's going to be Jake's turn. He's going to have one chance at this, as I think Tiddlewinks went straight on at turn 11, and he has Tiddlewinks' race. As soon as he had any hope, it's been shot down, and he's now down in 13th place. So that's Tiddlewinks' race over and done with. And as well, another driver I'm going to give a quick mention to here, as I mentioned before, is Drownsy, driving a very, very good recovery drive on those softs. He's going to try and nurse them home towards the end. But as we approach the final lap here in Zandvoort, Pines 2.2 seconds clear of Diamond. Jake draining everything he can from that battery to try and catch up to Diamond. He's broke a bit later, nearly tied the back of the AlphaTauri, but it's just not enough for the General to make the overtake, and I think Diamond has actually, I would say, held on to that 2nd place. There's no real overtaking chance unless you throw it up the inside of one of these corners, but Jake is not going to let that deter him. He's going to have any chance he can, as Shadows has went round at the carousel, and that's now put drive on driver back up into the points. It's been a disaster for Shadows, and Drownsy and Diamond, both AlphaTauris, very, very happy with that, at least in terms of the championship. They'll be gaining on Shadows as we make our way around the stadium sector for one more time, and it's Pines domination, much like in Australia. He's going to be able to hold on unless any silly mistakes occur in this final sector. But much like in Australia, it was a wet start to this race, but it dried out towards the end. The sun has come out around Zandvoort. Pines domination, and it hasn't let it deter him. He crosses the line to win with a bit of a wiggle over the line, and it's Pines back in the top step of the podium. Diamond takes second, Jake takes third, and Phenom finding the performances of the end towards season 4 picks up 4th. Brownsy will take 5th. Jaffmaster recovering from a drive-through at the start of the race to take 6th. Lexus will take 7th. Revengezilla after that penalty will take 8th place, potentially removed though, I'm not too sure. Drive on Driver takes 9th, and Legends, what could have been for them, takes a sole point in 10th.
Oh, it was a more exciting finish, but it could have been so much more. That fight for P2 was just about to really hit its climax. And one could say that we were robbed a little bit, but maybe that's just me after the excitement of last week.
Arsenal.
Oh, don't break my heart.
It's 3-3.
Oh, Arsenal! I'm not even an Arsenal fan. Why have I done that?
Wow, ladies and gentlemen, we found a fake
Bukayo
Scouser today.
Saka.
Oh, I've got him as captain today.
90th
Get in
minute.
there.
Oh my.
Oh, they're doing it. They're doing it the hard way.
Yeah, but still. Don't make it easy. That's one thing for sure. But that's 2 games in hand over Man City, and it's 5 points between Arsenal and Man City in the English Premier League. But it's a max haul of 25 points for IFC Pines. I'm actually proud of myself for that transition now, to be honest. Diamond takes second, and I can tell is very, very happy with that result. Going ballistic in the Twitch chat, expressing the excitement, and somehow, some way, Jake continues their form from Belgium to take third, and they'll get into a podium interview. I suspect Pines won't though, but I'm sure we'll have a few words from him in a few moments. As yeah, I think everyone there, I can see the exact moment where Arsenal equalised in the Twitch chat.
And they scored in the 8th minutes of injury time.
Well,
I have a luck when it comes to football to win a title.
oh my. Anyways, we wait for the lobby to count down, and
Oh, by the way, back to raining because this game.
yeah. I wonder if the mechanics are going to be T-posing all the way towards Singapore, which is we head off to next week. So, nothing more to say on that, apart from that race is going to be an absolute killer on everyone competing, because for those who don't know, Singapore, at least in the real calendar,
Oh,
is very, very long.
it's a long boy. It's
It's
a long boy.
long race. Anyway, we'll get to the virtual showroom, and I love as well when I left the lobby, it said I was failed to join a lobby when I left. Interesting.
Didn't boot you.
Fantastic indeed.
Anyway, we'll get to the McLaren in a brief moment for General Jake, as I don't think Pines will be joining us in the party anytime soon, so I think we'll get underway. So, David, do you want to interview our 3rd place driver in General Jake, or our P2 driver, Diamond Duchy?
I'll forget how to talk. I'll take Jake, Gary, and yourself can argue amongst the well. Yeah, obviously Gary has a thing to do, so never mind. Right, so on to P3 then. We've got General Jake. Please ensure you include your audio, sir.
Done.
Good job. Just let me know when you're done it.
I've done it.
Oh, good. Good. Hi, Jake.
Hi, mate.
How are you?
If I'm going to be completely honest, I feel shit. Shall I talk you through, or are you going to ask me that question first?
I was going to ask you what you had for dinner, but never mind. Let's talk about the fact that this is your second podium in a row. Obviously, not quite the scenes of last week, but P3 on the podium. Are you happy with that?
I'm not happy, and I'm happy at the same time, to be honest with you.
Embellish, maybe? I don't know. Well, okay. Let's cheat here. So, how do you think the race could have gone better? Do you think you possibly could have had the pace to match the guys who were fighting at the front for so long?
Qualifying, obviously, no. I got the traction too early, so I crashed out. I was very peed off, and then obviously the race, the turn one was absolutely chaos. I had Diamond absolutely going around the outside of me. He got past me with a little bit of contact, but obviously it was chaos. And then drive on my inside, and it was just absolutely chaos. And then throughout the whole race, behind the Inters, I was stuck in a position where everyone was just sending it on me. And I was getting pretty frustrated on it. And then obviously I continued away. And obviously it dried up. I did pit to set up hard tyres. When the safety car came out, I left the session because of my audio glitches, and it did resolve it when I come back because I couldn't deal with the audio glitches. Yeah, I was pretty angry after the second safety car restart. I was driving with anger because I wasn't happy. And then that second safety car came out. I pitted to mediums. I was a little bit more happy. Obviously, I knew there'd be carnage ahead. Obviously, Shadows gave me flipping out. I don't know how I avoided it. Shadows spun in front of me, and then I knew something was going to happen with Snedden, and obviously them two crashed next position. And obviously, I tried to get Diamond. Obviously, had more ERS, but obviously he was too fast to have me there in the corners. He was much quicker than me in the straights. I was a bit more quicker than him, so obviously he's probably running a higher downforce. The pace, I don't think the pace was there, to be honest, today. So yeah.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, that was two questions. So, in a sentence, Singapore next week, yes or no? Good track, no.
Yes.
This man loves Singapore.
Yeah.
What the hell was that?
Jesus.
I'm coming back. I love Singapore, so I'm coming back. I'm coming back.
Who's coming back? Well, you heard it here first. 3
And
podiums in
GG's
a row.
Diamond.
So 3 podiums in a row, maybe question marks behind that. Let's find out next week. I'll hand over to whomever is interviewing P2.
I think Jake just deafened me, so I think Silverside Boy, do you want to interview Diamond while I try and unclog my ears?
Yeah, sure. Before we start, Diamond, you gave me an absolute scare on that start.
Everyone else gave me a scare as well. It was
Tell me about
tight
it.
and no one moves.
Absolutely chaos. Was like 4 wide going into the first carousel bit. Yeah, Diamond. Once again, I don't know how to describe the Alpha Towers at the moment. They're just invincible when it comes to these kind of races. Another P2, pulling away again now. Me. But we'll talk about qualifying. How was your qualifying?
That was awful. I can't stand the track, so I knew I wasn't going to be anywhere near the top. Before the race, I was doing a lovely little rain dance with Groundsy, and it came true in the race, which was kind of my saving grace because I am good in wet conditions. But yeah, Quali was never going to be good. I can't stand Zandvoort.
We'll quickly go on that. Obviously, the first stint, obviously a wet start, and obviously there was absolute chaos. Was it how did you get into the rhythm of that race when everyone's just like making mistakes and you're just trying to avoid everyone?
Just keep it on the track. I know that I'm good in wet weather. I know it's one of my strengths. So I knew I would be able to make up positions on the start. It was just a matter of how many mistakes the people in front made, and turns out quite a few.
Well, obviously we'll go to the end of that race. Final safety car restart. Obviously, you seeing Sneddon up in front, holding Pines, Legends, and yourself up. Obviously, you were behind Legends and Sneddon's incident. From your point of view, what do you think of it?
I think it was clumsy from both drivers. I don't think Legends gave Sneddon enough space. Sneddon didn't back out, and they ended up in the wall. It was a bit silly from both of them, as they both had the pace on me, so they would have been the top three regardless. I'm just lucky they hit each other, really.
Yeah, you're taking advantage of it. So I guess you probably, as you drive past, saying thank you very much.
I was laughing when I went past, to be fair.
Oh, that's nice. Chris, do you want to say anything? Now your eardrums are no longer blown out.
Apart from well done to both Jake and Diamond, still no word from Pines, unfortunately, but don't blame them. Probably swarmed by the Orange Army, seen Red Bull take victory. So I think we'll leave it on that note, unless Pines has
To be fair,
said anything.
there's a couple of things left. One thing is he's not here, but to the victor go the spoils, and the spoils. Not an interview tonight, but it is a special message from Gary to tonight's winner, IFC Pines.
Okay, well,
Why have I got to do it?
take it away.
Because I nominated you.
Oh, you
I
son
spent
of
my
a
own
bitch.
channel points.
Ah, hi Pines, hello. Ooh, Daddy Pines. There we go. Are you happy?
Yay.
Thank you, Gary. You're such a good sport.
Love to
What
see
I
it.
do for this league? What do I do for this league? My fucking.
To be fair, we
Yeah.
all did it. We all did it earlier on in the stream. It's a bit of fun.
I
We
did it
love
3 times on Wednesday.
Yeah. Them's my. Yeah.
If
Anyway,
someone clips that, I'm gonna be pissed.
over to you, Cruiser.
Thank you, David. And I think someone's David Twit message to you in Twitch chat, that being Shadows, but we'll save that for after
Golf
the
with
stream.
friends. Golf with friends. Golf with friends. Sorry. Carry on.
Oh, there we go. I think that might be the plan for after the race. Anyway, big thank you to everyone for tuning in and for watching tonight, as we'll get the Red Bull up on screen for our winner, Pines. As mentioned earlier in the broadcast, FPRL will be back this Sunday for the final time around Zandvoort, where the Tier 4s, that being David and all of the other drivers, Fish Stitch has got the clip of Silver Say Boy. Lovely! And that's a good way to end the stream. But before we do end the stream, David, as co-coms, good luck. Who is your driver of the day?
Right. So there's a couple of notable mentions that unfortunately have missed out. I will go through them first. First one is Jaffmaster, who fought back from a less than perfect drive-through on the start of the race, and he picked up some points. So that was a good race from him. Revengezilla also putting in a fantastic race. It was a brilliant team effort from the Zilla household. Mimi putting in a good effort in qualifying, and Zilla, who I'm fairly confident will pick up P4 after that 5 seconds is removed. We won't know till the stewards come out, but anyway, my driver of the day is gonna be Diamond Douchey. I think he's
Bosh.
Bosh.
And there you go. A bit of a
I should have
climactic...
given it to Mimi, as Shadow says. I'm sorry.
Ah well. Anyway, Mr. Diamond Duche, aka by his nickname Bosch, has picked up Driver of the Day and a second place trophy around Holland. And as mentioned as well, Tier 4 this Sunday, 8 PM. Come through and support our Tier 4 drivers in our inaugural campaign. Title is going to be a very, very close fought one, it must be said. But a big thank you to David for joining me in the commentary box, and a quick thank you as well to Silverside Boy for the rather late entry too. Appreciate that both from you lads.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Cruiser. Pleasure as always.
Thank you, David. And as well, before we do leave again, as mentioned as well, Singapore next week, where the Tier 3 drivers kick off our week under the lights of Marina Bay. And that has been Cruiser 1872. Thank you very much for watching, and from all of us here at FPRL, good night.